Hi guys, so for today's tutorial we're going to be doing this little Valentine's monkey. I'm trying to get these tutorials sorted so that you don't have to have any cutters when you're doing this at home. If you've ordered a pack from me, you'll have received a biscuit, a heart-shaped biscuit, and all the right icings in the right colours. If you're just looking at the tutorial, you can do any colours and you can put it on any kind of biscuit. If you've got the heart biscuit, you can roll your pink icing out and you can use your biscuit as a template and use a knife and cut round it. So you've got a nice pink heart in icing to pop on top of your biscuit. So I didn't really want to bore you with rolling out a piece of pink icing. So we'll put the biscuit out to one side, okay, and then we'll look at how we're going to make our little monkey. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to get our brown icing. Now with our icings throughout the tutorial, if I can remember, I'm going to pop my icing straight back in the bag because that keeps them from going hard. Okay, so we're going to rip a piece off our brown icing, probably about the size of a Brussels sprout. Sorry, I've typically now got a tickly throat. So as you can see, I'm just going to knead it in my hands and make it nice and soft. I'm going to roll it into a ball, and then I'm going to have a look. Then I'm going to roll it into a tear shape just using my hands. So that's the little body for our monkey. Okay, we'll pop him to one side out of the way. Next thing we're going to do is the legs. Again, really easy. We're going to just roll it in our hands to warm the icing up. And then we're going to roll a sausage. Okay. So it's difficult to tell you how long, but about that long. Doesn't matter, your monkey can have super long legs or short legs. It's not a problem. Use a palette knife or a sharp knife to cut them in half, it doesn't matter. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make my monkey's leg by folding the sausage, pushing one side down flat, and this is my little foot. Okay, I'm going to do the same again with the other side. I'm going to put my finger down, I'm going to fold it up, and I'm going to squash that bit flat. So from a side profile you can see what I've done. I'm going to add a little bit of glue. I'm going to throw my paintbrush on the floor, so I'll grab another paintbrush. I'm going to get a little bit of the edible glue. If you've not got edible glue, it doesn't matter. You can use vodka, gin or water. Then I'm going to sit my little monkey's legs on underneath like that, push them round. So his legs are under his bottom, like so. So that's my little monkey's legs. You can turn his feet in or out. Shall we have this one with his feet out? That'd be quite cute. Okay, if you want to, you can give him some creases in his legs. This is a boning tool, so you can do that. If you haven't got a boning tool, you can use a sharp knife. If you're a small child doing this, make sure you've got a grown-up with you if you're using a sharp knife. Okay, so next we're going to do his arms. So the arms are done, just move him out the way a little bit. Arms are done just like the legs. And those of you who were watching noticed I didn't put my icing back in the bag. So pop that back in the bag. Okay, so roll this out. So same as the legs, into another sausage. Obviously doesn't need to be quite as long. Cut it in half. Tiny bit of our edible glue. You don't need much, and sometimes with chocolate icing you don't need any, because if you've got warm hands this will be really sticky. So decide where we want his little arms to go and stick them on. So you can see I've just stuck one arm on. Squash the shoulder down like that, and then you can use your little tool or your knife and just give him some creases at the elbow. Okay, so I'm going to do his other arm to see where I want the other arm. I'm going to bend it a little bit further up. Now if the arm's looking a bit long, my hand's right in the way, if the arm's looking a bit long, you can use your scissors like so. So there's my arms. Okay, use your boning tool again if you want to, or your knife, just to crease in there. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. His little arms are on there and his little legs. Okay, next job, we're going to roll his head. So just going to knead the icing. We're going to pull a bit off because we want some for his tail and his nose. The bit we've got left, we're going to roll a ball. We're just going to hold the ball onto the monkey and check his head's big enough. So I would say that looks pretty fine. I'm going to put that to one side now. I'm going to put my spare bit of icing back in my bag, and I'm going to get out my fudge icing. So this icing is fudge flavoured icing, which is lovely, and it's just the right colour. So I'm going to break some off. I'm going to tear off and roll in my hands 2 large pea sizes. I'm going to put my icing back in the bag. I'm then going to cut my 2 large pea pieces in half, and that's perfect because that gives you a flat side and a rounded side, which is the front of his foot and his hands. So a little bit of glue onto his feet and onto his hands. And when I was being taught cake decorating, I was told glue before you do, and that's a brilliant bit of advice because that means the glue will start getting tacky while I'm doing the other bit that I need. So with my ball tool, I'm just going to push in like that, just to make a little indent for my hands and my feet. Okay, or if you're using a knife, be really careful. You can just really gently use the knife and you get exactly the same effect. So if you can see, I'm just using it to make 2 marks like so. Okay, then because my glue's had time, I'm going to push my little foot on like that on both sides. Push my foot on. You can use your little tool if you want to help you, or if you're only working with a paintbrush, you could use your paintbrush to help as well. So put his little hands on so you can see, because you've cut it, you've got a nice flat side to be working with. So that's the hands, and you can see the indents made really simply for the feet and the hands. We try and move the board to show you. So you can see on this one, you can see really clearly, and on the one we've just done, you can just see. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do, you can either use a skewer, a wooden skewer, or you can use a cocktail stick or a piece of spaghetti. Spaghetti's probably best. That would mean I've got to leap out of here and go into the kitchen, so I'm going to use the skewer. Push the skewer straight down through the body of your monkey, and then using some sharp scissors you can cut it. If you've got a cocktail stick, it's quite a lot easier because you wouldn't have to cut it. I'm just going to cut it a little bit shorter. There we go. And if you've got a piece of spaghetti, you can pop the spaghetti in and just snap it off. If you've put something wooden inside your model, you must tell whoever you're giving it to that you've got a piece of wood inside it. Okay, so put a bit of glue on top of the monkey's shoulders, and then we're going to work on the monkey's face. So you can see I've got his head here. So take a really small, large pea size, roll it into a ball, and then just gently with your thumb and your finger squeeze like that. Then using your paintbrush, you can push down in the middle. This is what's going to give him his little face. So usually I would use a heart cutter for this, but as we're trying to do this without any cutters so that everybody can have a go, we're going to do it like that. So you can see what I've just done. So put a tiny bit of glue on the monkey's face, and then you can pop that on. So press it down, just wiggle it around a bit so you're happy with how it looks. So it's like a little flattened heart, okay? And the next thing you're going to do, you're going to make his muzzle. So roll another ball, and this time turn it almost into a baked bean shape. So it sits like that. Little bit more glue on our monkey's face, so on here. And we're just going to pop that on the front. So you can see immediately starts looking a little bit like a monkey. Then using our bone tool or our knife, we're just going to put a little mark in there. Okay, at this stage our glue should have gone tacky, and we can pop our head onto our monkey, like so. Next thing to do, you can grab the glue, pop that on, and you can push your two eyeballs, you can drop them, your two eyeballs into your icing. Okay, so I'm using the sugar pearls, and if you've had a kit off me, you will have one of these. Two of them, because you've got two eyes, haven't you? So I'll just push the other eye in as well. There we go. So immediately you can see he's now looking just like a little monkey. We are then going to make two little ears. We're going to roll two balls, two tiny little balls, and we're going to use our ball tool again, or the end of your paintbrush. And you're going to dent and create two little ears. Put a little bit of glue on each side, and we're going to pop our ears, whoops, onto the glue when it's ready. So we'll give it another squash it down as I dropped it. Right, and then we're going to stick our little ears on. You can do your ears as big or as small as you like. It's completely up to you. Okay, so there's our little ears. Next thing we're going to do is our little nose. So we need a tiny bit more brown. Break off the brown, and you can make his nose as big or as small as you like. Now you notice every piece of icing I pick up, I just roll it in my hand to make sure it's nice and warm and pliable. And then we're going to pop his little nose on, and he will immediately look like a super cute little monkey. So the last but not least thing we've got to do to our monkey, at this point I would pop him on the biscuit. So a tiny bit of glue on there, helps if you've got glue on your brush, or a bit of vodka or the gin. And we're going to lift him up and sit him on among our biscuit, like so. And then we're going to do our tail. So we're going to roll a nice little skinny worm. So the skinnier the better for this. You'll see why in a minute. Right, that's probably long enough. It's difficult to say how long, but you can gauge that. Lift your monkey up and pop your tail in the back like so. and then you can loop it round, and then you can make it into a little heart by just sort of creating a triangle, giving it a good wiggle, and finish like that. So you can see you just need to wiggle this about a bit until you're happy with it. You can use your knife or your little tool. So there's our little heart-shaped tail. So last but not least, we're going to make a heart like this. This is the only time I've used a cutter. If you haven't got a cutter, you can make one by hand, pretty much how you did the face. If you have got a little heart cutter, get your icing, knead it to make sure it's nice and pliable. Pop it on your mat and then give it a bit of a roll, but don't roll it too thin, okay? Then we're going to use a plastic bag. We're going to pop the plastic bag or a piece of cellophane or cling film over the top. Then we're going to push our cutter through the layer and through the icing, and that gives you a really nice rounded heart, so you've not got any sharp edges on it, so it looks like a little pillow. Pop a bit of glue on our monkey wherever you want to stick the heart, and then you can just bob the heart on, and there you have it, one little monkey or two little monkeys. And don't forget, everybody's model will look different, and everybody's model is their very own special little monkey.